Wilbon, the Waddle and Silvy Casino is open, and we're asking you to make a
Ooh.
bet. You have to make a
Ooh.
bet either way, okay?
Okay.
And you have to bet your house.
Oh God!
Pick
Sizable
whichever
wager.
house. You could pick your Chicago condo, your Arizona beautiful house. You could bet your Washington D.C. house, whichever one. By the time DJ Moore's contract is up, and he just signed a 4-year extension, so he's here for the next 6 years. 6 years. Will there be one Chicago championship, sports championship in any sport?
6 years. Yeah, I'll say the Bears will win a Super Bowl. In that 6-year period, in that 6-year window, Bears. It ain't gonna be. I don't know what the Cubs are doing. The White Sox look like they'll be relegated, and so that then we get the. I mean, the Blackhawks. It's a year too early to figure out. Like you couldn't see. Even when Kane and Taves first got going, you didn't necessarily see a championship, and they did get to a conference championship and lost, and they had to sort of take a step back before they got going full throttle. So I'm going to say one. I'm going to say one. And the Bulls, I don't know. God knows who the Bulls are. I do feel pretty good about our first round draft pick in the last few weeks since we've talked about him. Although I would like to have had maybe two and gotten our man from Chicago as well, who went to Illinois. I'm drawing a blank on names now, having a senior moment.
Shannon.
Played for the Illini.
Yeah. Terrence Shannon, right?
Terrence Shannon Jr. I would like to have had both of them, and maybe you have that kind of momentum swing. But it looks like he's had some nice moments, in summer league, and so we got a long way. But you can't project anything for the Bulls or Cubs or White Sox. I mean, at least with the Bears, you've got some things that you think are going to be in place, and it looks like okay, I trust what they're doing. I see a path. That's as far as I would go. So I wouldn't actually make that bet. But if you guys are making me make a bet, I'll give the city one championship within 6 years, and the Bears will be it.
As somebody who I think embraces the old school mentality of the game, how do you feel about the Bears not having any of their starters play a single snap tomorrow night?
Thrilled. We talked about this on PTI yesterday. Thrilled. Yeah. I don't need that. I mean, enough with the hype. I mean, everybody's hyped. I'm hyped. I'm going to watch anyway. I want to see the backups. I want to see the 2s and the 3s and the guys who are fighting for a spot on the team. So figure some of that stuff out. No, I don't need to see these guys. I don't even think they're ready for that.
Well, this isn't a fashion show,
and they
so
got 4 games.
I don't need to see them for that reason. But let me try to sell you on this. I'm going to try to change your mind. Okay, Mike? This is what I'm going to try. This has nothing. I don't need DJ Moore. I don't need Keenan Allen to play. I have a quarterback.
You need a quarterback to play.
I have a quarterback
and the line
who comes from a system where he was never in the huddle, never called a play, never was forced to call a play, get out of the huddle, hurried by everyone up to the line of scrimmage. He's doing something now that he probably hasn't done since he was a little league football player, and that is get the call in, get into the huddle, call the play, get up. All the procedural stuff will be new to him. And by the way, we were up at Hallis Hall yesterday, and we saw firsthand that there is some bumpiness there with regard to all of the procedural stuff, and it's stuff that was happening earlier in camp as well. So could I sell you in a scenario where Caleb Williams would go out there for a series or two where he's getting – remember, football coaches, the little things mean everything to them. So getting
you could
the call
sell me,
in,
Tommy. You could sell me on that.
Okay.
But yes. But you could also sell me on, and this is what I've sort of been sold on. I anticipated exactly what you said. I'd heard a little bit of it. I'm anticipating exactly what you said and exactly what they see. The Bears are the first team in camp, and they're not ready for that yet. The coaches can also see if those guys aren't ready for that, and they want to have some more practices before they put him in that situation and make it more stressful than it needs to be simply to satisfy the roaring public. you could also sell me that as well.
Well, but I'm not looking to satisfy anyone. What I'm looking to make sure is I don't have procedure penalties with the first series against the Titans in week 1 because I'm scarred.
No, but you got 3. You got extra games. You got more games than anybody except the team you're playing them all night. You still got 3 games. You're not going to keep him out. It's not Aaron Rodgers who he's not going to play at all. You're going to have him in there. He's got to show you all those things. He doesn't have to show you to him a week earlier than everybody else in the NFL. I don't need this. I don't need that. Let's work for another week. Get him in there next week.
When we've lost Wilbon, we've lost everyone.
I am shocked right now. Like I am baffled. I am perplexed. Everything. Like I thought for sure we would be brothers in arms right now.
Remember, I said you could sell me. I'm not disagreeing.
What would Joe Gibbs do?
Yes, thank you, Sylvie.
Joe Gibbs would have something that you can't even have anymore. He would sleep in his office for like 7 straight days and have 3 a day.
Yes, right. And he'd play
before the preseason game.
You know, Mike,
so
how you like
do
to
that anymore.
You know how you like to text us when things aren't going well, and we try to calm you down at times during Bears games. If we get to the first series against the Titans in the opening game of the season, and there is anything close to an illegal procedure penalty, or
you won't have to text me. I'll be sitting there.
Well, I'm going to text you right. I may be there too, and I'm going to run down the hall into your luxury suite. And I'm going to bang on the door, and I'm going to say, "Told you so."
But you're not. Once again, we're not on opposite sides of this. We're addressing how to start it differently. We're addressing we're coming up with different medications.
Well, you're looking for a quick fix then. I'm looking for something that's slow and steady. That's, I guess, I think the more you practice something, the better chance you have to get it right. So you can think you can get it all done. And remember now, Mike, they don't get as much contact with their coaches and as many practices as they did back in the day. So I'm hoping you're correct. I'm not talking about compromising anybody's safety here, but I don't want to see any of that nonsense, not getting out of the huddle on time and all that.
Michael, I want to ask you about, you mentioned the Sox getting relegated, and like, if they were 60 win bad, we wouldn't be talking about them. If they were 60 and 102, they would be in the area where we would ignore them. They have become so bad where now they are such a story because they could set the Major League Baseball record. They have lost 17 straight games in a season where they also had a 14-game losing streak. I think the 24 is the record of a losing streak. Like this is hard to do. It is hard to suck this bad, isn't it?
Hello?
Did we lose Michael? We lost Wilbon.
I think he hung up on us because
we threw Joe Gibbs in his face.
Yeah. We wanted Caleb to play a couple of snaps. I got to be honest with you too. Like Shea was kind of railing against Yurko's statement about it, and Yurk took it to an extreme. But
yeah, you're not going to fire
Eberflus
because of it.
But
yeah. So Wilbon is back. Michael, I changed the subject and I was asking you about the White Sox and just to the level that they have stunk, that they are now a story. Like you have to really, really try to lose 17 games in a row. And even if you try that hard, you may not be able to accomplish that. Like, how do you describe what the White Sox are doing right now?
There's only one way to describe it. It's the worst team I've ever seen. And here's the thing. This is not a sport where the prize for having this kind of season is Victor Wembanyama or LeBron James or, this isn't that sport. So
do you know the new rule, by the way? Do you know the new baseball rule?
They're 2 years removed from people picking them to win the World Series.
Right.
How is this possible?
Yeah. Do you know the rule about the White Sox in the draft pick for this year?
No.
So because they were so bad last year and they had a certain pick, that the highest the White Sox will be allowed to draft in next year's draft is 10th.
Ooh.
It's tied to how much money they spend.
So,
too,
so
right?
they're not like, I know what your point was, that like there's no sure ticket in baseball drafts that guy's going to pan out. Not only that, but now they don't even get a top
to even get the chance at it in case it was a scheme.
Yes,
they don't even have it. Although, look, I mean, we know from baseball that picking 10th can be high enough. You can wind up getting exactly the player of your dreams. Or do they have just one pick in the first round of the amateur draft?
I would think so. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, look, first of all, they're beyond one person helping them. But the fact that they could take a dive this far down this quickly, from 2 seasons ago when people thought they had a team that could seriously contend, and 17 in a row, they're within shouting distance of, I mean, I remember I was around covering the Orioles when they lost 20 in a row or 21. And they fired Cal Ripken Sr. and Frank Robinson came in. He lost the next 15 or whatever. And then I vaguely remember the Phillies doing this, they lost 23 in a row or something. This is wow. They're a level of bad that is hard to comprehend. They're all time right now. Aren't they ahead of the Mets pace to be the worst team in the history of baseball?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
27 wins. They're I think they're 57 below 500 right now. It's 57 games below 500.
It's not possible to be this bad, and yet they're this bad.
27 and 84. There's our midday show. Carmen and Yurko have a bet whether or not the White Sox will get to 30 wins or 100 losses faster.
First.
Think
so
about that.
They won 27 now, right? Is that right?
They've won 27, but they're 16 away from 100.
God.
That's what it's come to.
I know. I mean, when you live in Chicago and one of your teams is all time bad, that's saying something.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know what to feel. I'm not one of those. I grew up on the South Side, so forget affiliation with the team. I grew up going to that ballpark with my dad, who was a White Sox fan. And it's just unthinkable that they stink this badly. And what do you do about it? And again, there's no prize. There's not even you're not getting the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback once removed automatically for being that bad. There's no 2-year turnaround. What in the world do they do?
Yeah.
They can't even get it right with getting rid of, a left-handed all-star pitcher who probably should have been traded.
Mm-hmm.
They're not even getting that right. So I don't know what to make of it. It just seems
I don't think
3 years is 2 years plus is so long ago.
I don't think talking about the Cubs is any more entertaining. So I was just going to skip right to the Olympics and ask. We had a great conversation about you and your affinity for the Olympics last week. Have you gotten into it so far, and what have you made of what you've seen?
Yeah, I watch quite a bit. I am watching on Peacock, and I mean, look, NBC spends so much money to do this. I don't even think I had downloaded Peacock, and yet all of a sudden I went and turned on every TV in my house, and there's a Peacock app on the TV on every one of them, and you just click and you get everything you want. So, the notion that I'm going to wait to watch primetime NBC as much as I want to see my dear friend Mike Tirico, that I'm going to do that is insane. Because first of all, I'm in Arizona now, so I'm 9 hours behind Paris. 9 hours. So I wake up in the morning and you can see stuff live that's really good. At 10 o'clock in the morning, you can see live gymnastics, live basketball, live in the pool. I can see Katie Ledecky at an early hour that's hours before the primetime show is on in the East, and I'm not East anymore. I'm not in Chicago either right now. So it's very cool. I've watched some of everything. I mean everything. Watched a lot of swimming because that's what the first week is full with. I'll watch all the track and field you can stuff because that's what I love from going to the Olympics more than anything else is the track and field. I did not watch today's basketball. I knew that was going to be a blowout. I had no interest in it. I'll get back to it when they get to the medal round, and then they're in that now. So yeah, I've watched a lot of everything. I'm interested in some of the foreign athletes. The French swimmer who went out and won the butterfly today, the arena was so loud. And I didn't know there were 27,000 people in the basketball arena. I had no idea that. So there's a lot of stuff to watch, a lot of interesting things. And I know NBC is going to give you, because this is what the demand calls for, NBC is going to give people Americana. I'm not really interested in that as much as I'm interested in the people who are playing, no matter where they're from. You know, would I not want to see Usain Bolt because he wasn't American? Really? Would I not want to see the wrestler Alexander Karelin, the Russian wrestler who was 75-0 when I was covering the Olympics because he's not American? No, that's not my thing. I want to see the best that the Olympics have to offer. And so I did watch some volleyball, you know, the U.S. today, and it wasn't Croatia. Who did we play? Women's volleyball. Tremendous match, a 5-setter that I watched a lot of. And so I'm not just going to sit here and go watch basketball and gymnastics. It doesn't do it for me. And having covered 10 Olympics, I have a sense of what it feels like and what it should sound like and what it should look like.
Like we were having the discussion, what makes the Olympics, and like you were talking about this last week too, I enjoy watching sports that I normally don't watch during this time.
Yes, exactly. Much more so. I mean, I had never seen volleyball at any level that mattered when I was 25 years old. I'm in Los Angeles. My sports editor, thank God for George Solomon, said to me, listen, you're going to go down to Long Beach tonight and cover the U.S. versus China in gold medal. And I'm like, what? So I drive to Long Beach. First of all, it's amazing just driving around the Olympics. You couldn't even really think of that now. So I drive down to Long Beach from L.A. I watch the United States play China in the gold medal match. I think it was a gold medal match, had to be. And there's a young woman playing a star, maybe the most celebrated player we'd ever had at that point, named Flo Hyman, who lost her life, died of heart-related things. I think Marfan's when she was like 32. And she's playing against China, and the place is packed, and it's as loud as anything I'd ever heard in like the old Chicago Stadium. And I'm like, who are these people? How do they know this? And why are they here? I'm not sure I can explain all that to you, but I watched the U.S. lose to China. I think if we looked it up, it would say we were silver medalists that year with Flo Hyman on that team. And it was one of the most rousing things I've ever seen. And I've covered everything. And I remember at the end of it just having to gather myself and collect myself before I could write about what this was that I saw. And those are the kinds of things you can see if you watch. How about there was a pregnant woman who was in the fencing competition? You could see the baby bump, and she's competing in the fencing competition. I didn't watch that. Somebody texted me, and it was too late for me to see it. But these are things that you should, if you're going to watch the Olympics, and all you're going to do is watch the NBA players. I just feel sort of sad for you.
Yeah.